Welcome along to the Ninja Tune podcast, and it's another special edition where this time we invited Helena Hauff and Illum along to have a chat with each other and play a few pieces of music. They discuss his new album Glass, which is out on Ninja Tune, and experiences they both had with their early recordings. They also talk about their first gigs and travelling the world DJing, including experiences at the Pudel Club in Hamburg. Music played includes tracks from Phantom Band, Dirty Criminals, Sympathy Nervous and Serg Gainsbourg, plus some tracks from the Glass album. After that, we look ahead to some of the new releases coming out on the Ninja Tune family of labels, with tracks from Romare, Letherette, Hieroglyphic Being, J. Daniel and Ninja Tune founders Coldcut.
Hold on, I've got to open my beer. I stayed at a hotel in London the other day and it was basically like sleeping in an Apple store. The TV was just like a massive, it looked like an iPad. It was a TV, but it had, you know, like those iPads have this black around them or something, you know. It was just a massive TV. It was really, really big. And like the light control, the temperature control, the curtains and everything, and even the room service and the please do not disturb thing was like controlled by several iPads in the room. Oh, like smart pads, I don't know what you call that actually. And they had a smartphone for you as well to use and take with you. And
take with you?
Yeah, they had a smartphone for you called Handy, which is quite funny because handy is the word for cell phone in German.
Yeah.
So there was a Handy for you. And I came back and it took me an hour to switch off the light, close the curtains, do everything that I wanted to do. It just took so long. At the end, I just went over to, you know, when you put your card in this light thing to turn on, or
the electric.
Yeah, for the electric. Yeah. So I just took the card out of there to just like get rid of all the electricity because I just couldn't fucking switch this thing. I couldn't switch the light off.
Sometimes you just want a light switch.
Yeah, why don't you just have a bloody light switch? I mean, it's simple. On, off.
Do you know how old we sound?
Yeah, so it's just like basically solutions for. They're creating problems that never were problems in the first place, and then coming up with solutions for them. And it's like, come on, it's annoying. It's really, it doesn't. I don't get it.
I just want some curtains and a light switch.
Yeah, I don't think it ever was a problem for me to just get up and close the curtains.
No.
I never even thought about it. I never even thought about it being a problem.
Should we play a record?
Yeah, let's play a record.
What should we play? Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I wanted to play my mate Serge.
Serge.
My mate Serge's record. No, I love Serg Gainsbourg. I think he's cool. And he smokes more than I do, so that makes me feel quite good about myself, actually.
Makes you feel healthy.
Yeah, sort of.
Which track?
I'm not sure, but one of the Histoire de Melody Nelson.
That was well pronounced.
Maybe.
Au 56, 7, 8, peu importe. De la rue X, si vous frappez à la porte, d'abord un coup, puis 3 autres, on vous laisse entrer. Seul et parfois même accompagné. Une servante, sans vous dire un mot, vous précède. Des escaliers, des couloirs sans fin se succèdent, décorés de bronze baroque, d'anges dorés, d'Aphrodite et de Salomé. S'il est libre, dites que vous voulez le 44. C'est la chambre qu'ils appellent ici de Cléopâtre, dont les colonnes du lit de style rococo sont des nègres portant des flambeaux. Entre ces esclaves nus, taillés dans l'ébène, qui seront les témoins muets de cette scène, tandis que là-haut un miroir nous réfléchit. Lentement, j'enlace mélodie. Mélodie.
So what have you got?
I got something from Phantom Band.
All right.
Obviously 2 of the guys from Cannes. And which one am I going to play? I think I'm going to play Nervous Breakdown. I was going to play This Is the Rule, but that's a kind of bit dancey, so I'm going to play Nervous Breakdown, I reckon. Here we go.
One day, it's after the nervous breakdown, they realize the absurdity of the situation they're in. And they look back at it with closed eyes, realizing that it could have been possible at that time that someone else has taken over their body for a few minutes? Or was that the real them? Television. After the nervous breakdown. There is a bit of light they miss the absurdity of their own situation. And that's the thing that you see after. There is a bit of light outside. See it until it strikes. But not for long.
What else should we whinge about? What else pisses you off?
What else pisses me off? Well, that kind of pisses me off. And then people.
And that's the end of the podcast. Thanks, guys.
No, I mean, I love people and I love meeting. That's one of the things that I enjoy most about traveling and like playing so many places, because you, not always, but a lot of the times you end up meeting really, really good people.
Yeah,
really
definitely.
interesting to talk to people, and interesting to talk to people. Is that, you know what I mean? And I really enjoy that.
Yeah, I do as well. I think it's really like there's some shows that you play that you kind of click with the people who are running the show.
Yeah,
straight away.
Definitely.
And yeah, even if you don't it's not like you're going to kind of speak to them every day, but you know that especially if you go back a couple of times and play the same thing, there's like a real, you kind of form a really good friendship there.
Yeah, you do. And I love that, and it's great.
It's actually one of the things that we were talking about a little bit earlier, like with Hamburg, because the only times I've played in Hamburg have been at the Pudel, and the first time was super, really, really early on. Everything's right, Ralph's great, and the venue's amazing, and the people there are amazing, and it's just, when I played the Pudel again last year, And I hadn't seen Ralph for 4 years, I think. But it was just straight away. It was like you'd seen him
Yeah.
the week before. You know, Ralph as well.
Yeah.
You're right.
I'm great, thank you.
Beer hiccups.
I've got
Look
beer
out.
verbs. Bäuerchen. No, when was it? When did you release your first record?
2009.
2009.
Yeah.
That's when I started DJing, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah. 2008, 2009, yeah.
Was that...
2008,
Okay, here's a question.
yeah.
What was your first DJ gig? Can you remember it?
Yeah,
That's a really interviewy question, isn't it?
that is a very interview question. I remember it. It was, I had my decks at home and I practiced like beat matching basically, and I could do it at home, but I was still kind of like didn't really know. I wasn't very confident and stuff. And then a friend of mine, Christopher Rau, he released on Smolver Records and stuff. He played at this bar, and I was kind of like a bit cheeky and was like, can I play a few records as well? And he was like, yeah, of course you can. And I was so scared that my hands were like shaking, and I just literally couldn't hear anything because I was used to having like a really good kind of monitor and stuff, and I just had the headphones on like one ear and did the other thing with the monitor. But then you're in the bar and there isn't really anything, and I was like, I've got no idea what's going on. So that was my first DJ gig, I suppose, sort of. And then I played at the same bar a couple of times after that, and somewhere else on a big stage at a festival that just happened, but there wasn't anyone there, so I played in front of no one for half an hour on a massive stage. And then I asked another friend of mine, RVDS, he's called, and he had like a regular night at the Pudel, or has a regular night at the Pudel, and I asked him if I could like play or something. He was like, oh yeah, there's this a Tuesday and I'm actually not in town, so I'm looking for someone to take it over. And I was like, okay, cool. And I did that. And
amazing.
Yeah, so within 2 months I went from not knowing anything to playing at the Pudel.
That's amazing.
Well, that's the good thing about the Pudel, because
that's so much cooler than my story.
Is it cooler than your story? No, it's not that cool. But I mean, the good thing about the Pudel always was that it doesn't really matter if you can do whatever you want. And I know a lot of people like this Vietnamese guy called Phuong Dan.
Oh yeah,
he actually
I'm playing with him this week actually.
Yeah, he told me that he basically learned how to beach mat and all that at the club in front of people, which is quite cool. Yeah,
totally best way.
But it's good
so
to
cool.
have it, and it's a good way to. It's a good thing that you have a place like that where it really just doesn't really matter.
Thing that's so great about the Pudel for me was that it always gave off that vibe that it doesn't really matter who you are there, you're still just playing in it. It's like it doesn't matter if you're the biggest name or not the biggest name. You just get the vibe that no one really gives a shit who you are anyway, even if you are not in a bad way, but in terms of like you're just like they're there at the Pudel. Sure, people get more crowds than other people, but it's a great place, that place. And they reckon it's going to be open soon again.
I think so. That's the plan anyway.
That's good news. That was really devastating seeing that.
Yeah, and the weird thing is in Hamburg it doesn't really. Berlin is different, and I suppose like London is different as well. But in Hamburg things don't It's just like a few kind of like institutions there, and once they shut, it's not like the next day something else opens somewhere else. It's just very kind of static, which isn't necessarily a good thing, but that's just the way it goes. So it was basically, well, the Pudel is gone, there's not gonna be something else. It's just,
Yeah, I get that. I mean, it was kind of a similar thing with what happened in Manchester with the Roadhouse. I think we did just over 7 years, but the Roadhouse had been there. It was a small club and it had been going for 20 years. And it was predominantly, like, it used to be just like it was well known for being like a band club. So a lot of people really early on in their careers would play there, like, I think like Oasis and stuff like that, and Coldplay, and the band Elbow, like, used to work behind the bar and stuff like that. And but it was so many Manchester nightclubs had been there, like club nights had been there, like Electric Chair was there, and Friends and Family was there, and all these other kind of people, like really long running Manchester nights. And it just shut down May last year, I think. The owners wanted to turn it into a restaurant, and it had been there for like 20 odd years, and then they ended up not doing it as a restaurant, and now it's up for lease. But Manchester kind of has a lot of small clubs, but not as many as it used to. But it's not say that I think it's kind of, I don't know, I get the, I don't know, but I get the vibe that there's a little bit of a similarity between Hamburg and Manchester, in that they're very overshadowed by, say, like Berlin or London, but they have their own little, like, really, really interesting scenes going on. But the kind of same thing that you were saying, like in terms of when a venue like the Roadhouse closes down, or something like the Pudel shuts down for a bit, it's not so easily absorbed as if it could be in somewhere, especially somewhere like Berlin, where, I mean, I think Berlin more so than London, like you've seen recently with the thing with Fabric in London, how it's a very, very different place to the Pudel. But having a club of that magnitude just gone, even if it is temporary, even in a city the size of London at the moment, you know, there's more and more venues going, like Dan's Tunnel went early on in the year as well, and like loads of other places, and it's really starting to, you're really starting to feel it, I think.
Yeah.
Whereas I think in somewhere like Berlin, maybe it's not as, what's the word I want to use? It's maybe not, you don't see the sustained kind of problem with it so much, maybe because there's just stuff everywhere in every little kind of nook and cranny. There's clubs that you would, even if you had been there a million times and you knew the place like the back of your hand, there's definitely clubs that you still don't know exist because they're just like doors in a wall somewhere. Yeah,
and places open as well, like new places open up.
Yeah. And
you get that in Hamburg, but it's never, there are not that many, and it never becomes like well, I don't know. I don't really go out that much.
No, I don't either.
We're possibly the wrong people to talk about this.
Imagine if like someone listening to this is like really into both our music. Probably more so yours than mine. But imagine if they're like, oh my god, wow, I'm going to listen to this. And then they just hear us talking about like our longings just for a light switch and not going out. Okay, so next one.
Yeah, next thing is Hypnobeat, a project with a guy called James Dean Brown from Frankfurt. He lives between Frankfurt and Berlin. And we've got this project. He started it in the early 80s. And I joined the project in 2013, I think, and we just released a record on Armour 17. And we played at the Armour 17 party in Moscow, one of the festivals. Can't remember the name of the festival. And yeah, this is out, and it's just like drum machines. It's a live recording, just like 4 drum machines and a few effect things.
Amazing. I don't think I've done an interview with another artist.
I did an interview with Veronica Vasica, but we had like an interviewer with us. It was kind of like 3 people talking, so she kind of like she asked questions and stuff as well, and the problem was it was on Skype, so Skype is always a bit.
You get that delay.
You get that delay, yes. So
I always think I'm either being rude or people are rude on Skype, because you get that slight delay and you start talking over people.
Yeah.
And then you're just like this. Oh shit! Sorry. Sorry. Did I just talk over you? Yeah. Sorry. Say that again. And then you just like you start talking, and then the other person hasn't heard you yet, and they start talking, and then you're just like this weird like just.
Yeah.
Sorry. What did you say?
Yeah. It can be really awkward actually.
So you did the interview with Veronica.
Yeah.
Big fan of her label.
Me too.
And like I can't remember the last thing that came out that I wasn't really into on that label.
It's not really. I think it's a great label, and I've got a whole Minimal Wave collection. It's great. I love it.
Stuff.
It's good.
Stuff.
Yeah, I agree. But I mean, I like those kind of labels anyway. I'm a big fan of like Dark Entries and a few others like Here Mannequin Records or something.
It's very in the same world, but a lot of it's
yeah.
Like, I mean, Dark Entries at the moment. I think last month they reissued 3 of like my all-time favourite things within
that?
like a week or something.
Your all-time favourites, come. Let's do some like music chat. What's your all-time favourite records?
Well, they weren't like
on Dark Entries.
My all-time Dark Entries. Okay, all-time favourite Dark Entries records.
Well, the 3.
The 3. Okay, well they did, or maybe it was actually 2 in a week. They did that, the Pool 12, the Jamaica Run-In, and the Jago 12, I think in the same week. That was the Frankie Knuckles thing from early on. But I actually heard that record a few years ago off John Kay. John Kay used to play that record over and over and over. And a couple of years ago I finally bought a copy of it, and then yeah, they remastered it and put it out. And the Pool. The Pool was always a little bit of a secret weapon one, I think. Even though you'd hear it a lot of places. But yeah, they just reissue so much stuff. And it's all amazing.
Yeah, they're going to reissue something by me.
Are they?
Yes. So it's going to be amazing, obviously.
What are they doing? Is it one of those like lost 8-track?
Yeah, basically.
Helena Hauff, the lost sessions.
Lost sessions from 2 years ago. That's basically it, yeah.
What kind of stuff have you got coming up? This is
nothing really.
This sounds like it's gone a bit MTV now.
This is
what
a
kind
bit,
of projects are you working on?
Yeah, this is a bit MTV. Yeah, I've nothing.
Nothing.
I won a music prize in Hamburg.
Did you?
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.
What did you win?
It was like the newcomer prize. I won that last year, which is a bit weird because I wasn't really a newcomer anyway. But anymore. But anyway, it doesn't matter. I won a prize.
You won, that's it.
I won a prize, but the thing is, I won the only prize where you actually get something, not just like this statue thing.
Oh yeah? Did you get a statue?
I got a statue.
Where is it?
It's in the other room. You can have a look at it in a sec. I'm gonna show you my statue.
Okay. So what did you, apart from the statue?
So what I got was, I thought I was going to get money, but apparently not. The company that kind of like sponsored that particular award thing, that category, they do like posters and stuff, and they were like, do you have like a tour coming up or an album or something? We could like do posters in all over Germany. And I was like, no. I've got nothing coming up. And we agreed on that I could buy like a synthesizer or something, and they were going to pay for it, but then they never really replied to my emails. And now I think maybe I should do that poster thing, because I I'd rather have a poster than nothing, right?
Yeah.
So maybe I'd do like posters all over Germany with saying like Helena Hauff, not much doing at the moment, type something like that. Because I've got nothing coming out. Can I just like have like my picture there in my name or something? So it's saying like a bit lazy at the moment, but she's soon gonna be like.
Helena Hauff is. I keep saying Helena Hauff is on hiatus or something. Or is on holiday.
Yeah, it's something like that.
In fact, actually, that reminds me of something that I meant to talk to you about. You were the subject of possibly one of the greatest T-shirts I've ever seen. I saw someone post on. It might have been Powell posted it. Some guy was wearing a T-shirt with your face on it that said "Don't hassle the Hauff."
Yeah. That's yeah.
That was amazing.
I thought that was amazing.
You should get those. You should get that done.
Yeah, I could. Yeah, see, I could do that for the posters. So yeah, don't hassle the Hauff. That was really funny. He was there in Manchester.
Was that in Manchester?
Yeah, it was in Manchester.
Oh, of course it was in Manchester. See.
Yeah, it was in Manchester, and he just stood there and Object took a photo.
Oh, it was Object who posted it. Yeah, not Powell.
It was Object. I don't know if he posted it, but he took a photo of it and he sent it over to me and on wherever he posted it.
So yeah, I just remember seeing it a while ago. But yeah,
Yeah.
I remember thinking when we were going to have this chat, I was like, I need to speak to her about that because that was. I kind of wanted to know where to get one because I think you should.
But I saw someone else make T-shirts for me.
Really?
Yeah, I played at a festival in Helsinki, and there were like 3 guys with Hauff music T-shirts. And it was on the resident advisor stage, and resident advisor wanted to do like a little interview with me afterwards, like filmed interview, and those guys were there, so they handed over the microphone, they handed it over to them and said like, do you want to do the interview? And they started like interviewing me. But I hope it's gonna get, because they were so pissed. It was hilarious. And I can't remember what he said something. I look like his ex-girlfriend or something. It was just like
what?
really like I look like his ex. I can't remember.
Oh, his ex-girlfriend?
Yeah, something like that.
Weird.
And I said to him, do you realise that this is getting filmed by resident advisor? You might get famous, you know? And he was like, I don't care. He kept on like the microphone somewhere down there, like, nah. And couldn't hear what he was saying and stuff. I don't know if they're going to use it. I hope they're going to use it. It was hilarious. And he wore this Hauff music T-shirt.
That's amazing.
Yeah, did you ever get something like that?
No, never.
I suppose your name isn't really like.
No, it's a terrible.
With Hauff, you can do so many stupid like wordplays and shit.
Yeah. No, nothing like that.
Yeah,
I still
lucky.
get weirded out when people ask me to sign things though. There was a guy who played a gig about maybe a year ago in Belgium, and this guy turned up with some stuff, like 3 or 4 things of mine to sign. And I kind of felt like saying to him, like, "You sure you want to do this?
Yeah.
It's probably going to devalue it." You know? It's like,
I had to sign a computer once, like a laptop.
what?
Yes, like brand new laptop. He was like, are you sure you want this?
Yeah.
I mean, are you sure you want me to, like... But then it doesn't really matter. I mean, it's just a stupid laptop, isn't it?
It's just get a new one.
Yeah, exactly.
Or just put a sticker on it. You're ahead of me.
Yeah, I'm German.
Yeah, all right.
I should be.
Oh, mine didn't pop like yours did.
Yeah, you have to try. There is a thing you can.
Just opened
There is
it
a
really
thing
English.
you have to try to make this go in there, but the right way around. And there was actually something on telly where there you go.
Ah. For the benefit of people who are listening,
Yeah, cling cling.
Helena just flicked us what they called swing tops. What are they called?
Plop top.
Plop top. That's what they call in Germany. Plop tops. Like they're more famous for like the Grolsch bottles, aren't they? You kind of flick the top off. She just flicked one back on. It's pretty cool. Cheers. Let's try and let me think. If I was a journalist, if you were a journalist, what would you do now?
Well, did we talk about projects? You've got an album coming out.
Yes.
Okay, you've
oh, yeah,
got
I
an
do.
album.
I should probably talk about that, shouldn't I?
You've got an album coming out, and
Yeah.
I think Ninja Tune wants us to talk about this, right?
Probably.
Yeah.
Do
So,
we have to though?
You just asked me what I would do if I was a journalist, and you didn't say if I was a good journalist, so I'm just going to be a bad one. So I would possibly ask you, what's it about? The album.
See, this is a really tricky question actually, because it's not a concept album. Do you know what I mean? So I find that there's a real trend in a lot of music at the moment to add narratives to things that don't necessarily have a narrative. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not really about any one thing, but it's definitely more. It's different to it's different in approach to the first record, and it's different in. This is kind of like really weird talking about because you haven't even heard it yet. On the last record, it was my first record, and I'm into quite a lot of music, and I wanted to make lots of different types of music. So it was very like scatterbrain and kind of like very like sharp turns and different tempos and different kind of blah, 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 whatever. There was like some live sounding stuff on there and some not so live sounding stuff on there, but this one, it was like I really wanted to move away into kind of so it was more machine sounding, more kind of like longer developed ideas as opposed to like shorter, some track that start in this direction then end up in this direction, you know. And also I felt that a little bit like the kind of stuff that I wanted to, or the kind of stuff that I was into wasn't really the kind of stuff that I was maybe associated with so much. You know, it wasn't like a massive conscious decision to shift in a direction, because it isn't really. It's just like an evolution of the first one. It's a little bit more refined, and it's a little bit more, I don't know. It's like, in terms of like, I used to be really insecure as like a producer. Fine as a DJ, it was fine. It was like, but as a producer, I kind of like, or making music, I always felt way more insecure. And I think that insecurity came out in a lot of stuff where I would shunt certain things into my music that I thought was like a little bit too straight. Do you know what I mean? Or like, I didn't have the confidence enough to let an idea breathe for like 7 minutes, you know?
I feel the same. Like, I'm way more insecure with my own music than I am with DJ sets, or like DJing. It's quite normal, I think, because it's your own music. You play other people's records, and yeah, you kind of like fuck up the mix or something, you're like, well, okay, that was a bit, why didn't I get it right? You might think about it, but it's like, doesn't really matter. People forget about it as well, because a DJ set is something, it just happens, and then you will never hear it again in the same way.
And it's very much
unless
like
it's recorded, but then that's a different. But you know, it's just there for the moment, for the people in the club and you, and you're all on the same kind of like level. You're a bit drunk. You're a bit kind of like, it's at night. You know, you're not like fully kind of alert, awake type
it's
thing.
definitely, it's like it's a kind of like, it's a moment of spontaneity and like you know, it's like one thing. And it's just there for the moment, and then it's gone. And I love that about DJ sets. I'm, for example, not too keen on recording my DJ sets, because I always feel like it was meant to be for the people in the club, and I totally agree.
And not necessarily for people sitting at home listening to it online. Can be cool, don't get me wrong. I mean, there's not necessarily anything wrong with that, but I feel like I don't want to do that too often. I feel it's really cool to just have it as like that, and then it's gone. I don't want to have like an archive of everything that ever happened. I feel it's quite nice that DJ sets are just like that, and then they're gone. But then you have a record, and it's your own music, and you sat at home or in your studio and stuff, and you thought a lot about it, and it's always a very personal thing. Like releasing a record is always a bit like, and I think everyone gets insecure and a bit like scared about it and stuff at times, or feels a bit weird about it and doesn't really know if it's good or not. And you're so close to the tunes as well. You've heard them you've heard them so many times, and you need a little bit of distance as well to know if it's good or not, and all those things that come into play and stuff. So I totally understand that.
And I think also as well is that I didn't really have like a clear direction in terms of what I wanted to do in terms of making music. It wasn't like I said to myself, right, I want to do like house music, because I didn't. I just kind of started experimenting with electronic music. Like I grew up kind of playing instruments, you know.
Oh, did you?
Not particularly well, but like I started playing guitar when I was younger, and then kind of self-taught, kind of self-taught myself piano and like drums and stuff like that, but not very well. But you know, I could do it, and so the actual space from learning to make electronic music or starting to make electronic music into actually releasing the record was super short. It was like a couple of years maybe, or 3 years or something. And I think that it was like I didn't have any kind of like particular goal with it, like in terms of like, oh right, do you know what, like I really settled on this kind of sound. So I just for me it would make sense that if something was like 80 BPM and like on this particular vibe, or something was like super fast and like on a different kind of vibe, to put it out as the same thing. And therefore maybe because I also played a lot of different type of music in DJ sets, it didn't kind of really matter to me. But I think actually now, like, and since the last record, I kind of started messing around with some Alias stuff, which is a little bit more on a certain singular vibe, and I think that really made me reassess kind of the stuff I wanted to do as Illum, and moving more into a world where the kind of music that I make and the music that I play out in a lot of DJ sets is a lot more, there's a closer, they're not as far apart, you know. Some people I've played it to seem to think it's like this massive departure, but for me it doesn't really sound like that at all. It just sounds like the next record. I was chatting to Martin once, you know, Dutch Martin, and he was saying, you know, like you spend your whole life making your first record, and you do your next one in 2 years. Sorry, 2 years. Squeaky voice. And so it's a lot easier to then separate those albums into specific projects. And I suppose if you look at people who, I mean, you've done 2 records, right? Because there was that one and then the cassette thing.
I basically did 2 albums. Yeah.
So this is only my second, and then for the next one I might want to do something that's a little bit more in a certain direction. you know.
Yeah.
And it's a lot easier, I think, after you do your first record. Like going into my first record, it was totally like, I need to put all this stuff in there because this is all the stuff that I kind of want to do in some form or another. And then actually after that record's done, you actually think, well, maybe it's the kind of like leaving stuff out that is as important as the stuff that you put in. So I think making that first record was like a really big learning curve as a producer.
I had the same thing with my first album was my first album because I had this tape coming out before, and because I knew that my first album was going to come out and work this, I felt like, oh, this isn't an album, so I came up with this unfortunate name of a tape, which is, I wish I would have just called it something else, because it was always like, oh, Helena Hauff released a tape called a tape, and you're like, fantastic. I didn't think that was her. Anyway,
I thought it was actually quite a cool name.
Really? Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. That's making me feel better now. And anyway, I kind of like, I didn't really want this to be an album because I knew that another album was coming out, and I was just like, okay, I wanted to get this out, but it was like a collection of tracks, and I didn't think of it as an album at the time, but I think it's actually an album and it works as an album. Anyway, so I had that coming up, but anyway, the Ninja Tune album, Discrete Desires, that was kind of like very different to everything else I did before, and people were like, oh, she went into this kind of like different direction, and then people asked me, what are you gonna do next, and what kind of direction do you want to go? I said, I don't care, I might just like go back to doing that kind of noisy acid stuff, and I did get back to doing that as well. So I don't really think like that. I don't think, oh, I have to develop as an artist.
So that's really interesting actually for me, because I didn't know that you'd had that kind of feedback or response to the Discrete Desires record. So
what, that people kind of like said,
thought you were kind of like going in a certain way.
Yeah, definitely, because it was so different, and I was going in a certain way, but I kind of like, is that your track?
No.
What's that noise?
Somebody is sawing a tree down, and Helena just said, is that one of your tracks playing? Yeah, so that's good to know. I feel like it's all going to be all right.
It's all going to be fine. Don't worry about it. I remember the first time I went into like a club with like a DJing, and I thought it was so exciting, and I thought I had this kind of like this weird feel of a little bit of danger was in the air, you know? It was like a bit like, felt a bit dangerous.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
It's not at all.
It's not at all, and I still wish it had a little bit of that. The funny thing is, sometimes when I go to like a concert or go to like a club where they play completely different music, it's a completely different scene, and I don't know anyone there, I still feel a bit like that.
Yeah.
It's quite strange. It's like when I go to like a different kind of place, it's like I feel a bit like a teenager again. It's quite nice actually.
Yeah, because it's that kind of, it's just the unknown, isn't it? So say for example, it's like, I remember actually like the first time I played at the Pudel, it was so alien to so many venues that I played at before. It was kind of like, this is raw, you know, right down by the docks and kind of, or by the water, and you know, just tags everywhere, like just everything's tagged up. There isn't like there isn't a spare bit of bar left that hasn't got something on it or something. Do you know what I mean? And it was just so kind of like, yeah, this is pretty amazing. And it was that kind of like, holy shit. Then actually that was one of the gigs. The first time I did the Pudel was actually like, you know, like a proper butterflies moment. I was like, shit, I'm actually getting a little bit nervous about doing this. Not because I was scared, but because it was like, you know, it was like, I was like, fuck, this is a really cool place.
Yeah, I totally know what you mean. And then you start working at the bar and it all goes.
Yeah, and it's kind of weird that actually, because it was like, I remember the first time I ever DJ'd in a club, and the first time I ever DJ'd in a club properly, I think, was actually at the same venue that we ended up doing our club night in. And that very first time, it was like the biggest moment. And then it becomes so, what's the word? It's just regular. It's not like you don't enjoy it. You always enjoy it, but it's just that something very odd about that first kind of like venture into everything's magnified, so everything's way more important than it actually is.
Exactly, and now it's getting really philosophical.
Yeah.
The older you get, the less first times you have. So that kind of thing, just like, that's a bit, it's not sad, but, and you get something else, which is cool, because I get something else out of club nights now than I did like 10 years ago. And that's just as good as the other thing. But sometimes I think, I just want to kind of like, for one night, just have like someone like Darren Brown come up to me and go like, you will forget everything you've known now. Click, and then you forget everything, and you're like, oh my god, this is so exciting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd like to have that, like, every now and then, like, go like,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
absolutely. Because it is really easy as well to get quite jaded by the whole thing. Which, I mean, you know, we're incredibly lucky that we get to kind of go places and play shows and
and it's fantastic. And I always have that thing. I always say to myself when I feel a bit tired or run down or something, I'm like, hold on, what did you just do? You just flew to an amazing country, like somewhere at a beach or something, and you played like a festival in front of like 2,000 people, and they were all dancing and cheering. It's like, Christ, this is brilliant.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you missed in Germany?
What do I miss? Do you know what I really miss? This is super specific. It's basically every Sunday in Manchester we used to go to this place called Cabana, which did this Pakistani dish called nahari. It's like slow cooked lamb stew overnight, like really hot, really spicy, but they'd only do it on a Sunday. That's the thing I miss possibly more than anything, apart from my family, obviously.
Oh yeah. Okay, so you miss this Pakistani dish and your family.
Yeah, and friends.
And
there must be something.
Scotch eggs.
Do you miss Scotch eggs?
Those.
There's definitely a time and a place for them.
Yeah, every day.
Do you get like cravings, like real cravings?
Yes, I do. I love them so much, and I actually started doing my own, and they're really good.
Oh, really?
It's really simple, but it's a lot of work, like preparing.
Because they're just not, you don't really get them here at all.
You can't get them here at all, no. You can't really get pies either.
Yeah, see, the thing I've noticed a lot is that you don't have a lot of spicy food. It's really hard to get like spicy food.
Yeah, true. You can't really get
I think there's definitely
lot of like Indian stuff either.
There's a lot of Indian places, but they're not.
They're not really, not like in England,
Yeah. Okay, so My turn. I'm going to play something off. I don't have the original because it's really, really rare. I have it on a comp. It's by Sympathy Nervous. I think it was 1980. It's a track called Inverted Type.
Do you like listening to music podcasts?
In terms of like mixes? Or,
yeah, stuff like that.
I don't subscribe to any, but I will check, for example, if I see someone has done a mix for something that I'm into,
yeah,
then I'll check it. There is some sites that I kind of check a little bit more than others, but not massively. I like listening to radio. I listen to NTS a lot at home.
Yeah.
If I'm like not doing, if I'm just like doing some stuff at home, I might put NTS on, or
because I always find it so funny when you upload like a mix on SoundCloud or something, and it's like a 2-hour mix, and within the first 15 minutes of the upload, of it being uploaded, people go like, that was a fantastic mix, but it's a 2-hour mix and it's only 15 minutes since it's
Blows
been
my
up.
mind.
And it's like, how do you manage to listen to a 2-hour mix within 15 minutes knowing that's actually good?
That's a skill.
That's a skill.
Definitely.
I don't want to be judgmental or anything at all, because I do that as well. Like sometimes I just click through stuff because I'm like, okay, I like this DJ, I like his tunes, just see what's in there, and you're like, oh, I like this tune. You miss out on a lot of the other ones, but you kind of like click through and go like, oh, this sounds good. But I always find that quite funny actually when you see that happening. It's like 2-hour mix, and like within the first 15 minutes of it being up, it's like, love the mix, great mix, well done, amazing work.
Yeah, that's really weird.
All right.
What's up next? What you got?
I've got something on aerobic audio, I think. And the track is by Hypercut, which I think means hypercunt in Dutch. It's made in Belgium, but it's got a lot of Russian writing on it, and I can't read that. And yeah, great compilation of like it. One of the other artists called Octopussy. So there you go. Enjoy.
whole point of there's nothing better though either, I think, than when you play something that is a real rarity or something that not a lot of people know about, isn't a well-known tune, and you play it in a big place, and everyone responds to it in a really positive way. I think kind of for me that's like one of the best things about what we do actually when we DJ.
Yeah.
Like, is it the same for you? Like, if you kind of like have something that you know isn't very well known, and it's maybe quite a weird record as well, actually, and you play it in a context that you wouldn't expect. Say, for example, at like a festival, you play quite a weird record, not very well known, and everyone like loses their mind to it or something. That for me is like one of the best things when you kind of think, oh fucking hell, like this is not a particularly hype tune. It's not like the Summers, like, you know, it's not like an anthem or something.
Yeah.
And then a load of people are like, what is this record? What is this record? And you like I just have a habit of just like passing them the sleeve.
Yeah, I do the same, yeah.
It's like, have a look at the sleeve.
Yeah, I do the same. No, I love that. And what I love as well is like when you play in front of it doesn't have to be a big audience, but you play in front of people and you play music that you really, really like, and they seem to like it as well. It's just like you feel like you're one. I mean, it's kind of like not a stupid feeling, but you know, you feel like you're a big group. Out of a sudden, you're like all one, and you like the same thing, and it's great to like share music and see people's reaction and see how they enjoy dancing to it. And it's like, if you play like stuff that isn't very well known, or for example when I play like a test pressing of my label or something with stuff on and people react to it, it's almost like them reacting to like my own music, but it's another artist that I have on my label, for example, and they react to it. I'm like, it's almost like a child. I mean, I don't have any kids, but it like your kid coming home and saying like, oh look, I've got like my teacher said to me that I was really good today, and you're like, oh well done.
Yeah.
And it's almost like that, you know what I mean?
It's like a purely organic
it,
thing, isn't it? Because it's not based on like, especially if it's something you've played, you know that you've played out for the very first time and you're the only person who has it, and it's a purely organic thing because none of these people could have heard it before.
Yeah.
So they are literally responding to what
just
they're hearing.
The music, not to the hype, not to the, it's just the music, and it's nice. And I always think like, oh, I've got great artists on my label. it's almost like having like kids. It's like really strange.
That is
or
really...
like having a cat and going like, oh well done, you opened the door. Or you had a shit on the toilet instead of your little cat lit up.
If I had a cat, if I had a cat and it took a shit in the toilet, I would do more than congratulate it.
Yes,
I'd
be so
what
proud of
the
it.
fuck did you just do? That was amazing.
Exactly, and then it using the bog roll, and then I'd be all over it.
From washing its hands or paws.
That is like, that would be amazing. But you know what I mean? It's like something actually quite stupid, and you go like, oh, you're quite proud.
How is the label stuff going?
Well, I'm really bad at promoting and stuff, so I don't do any promotion, and I just hope that people get into it.
Yeah, they do though.
I've got an email list, but I couldn't figure out how to send an email like BCC instead of like having all the names. And it took me like
CC drama.
Like it felt like a week to get all the names in there, and now I can't figure out how to. I'm so bad at promoting things, but I get a lot of promos of people and a lot of really good stuff, and I always try to kind of like listen to everything I get, which isn't possible, but I try to listen to as many stuff as I could possibly listen to without going crazy.
One of the Alias things that I was talking about earlier, that was just the polar opposite to, say, for example, the Illum Sphere stuff. So it was just white label, no information, and just put out.
Yeah.
Do you think that actually, in like nowadays, there's so much information available to people all the time, and every release tends to be, like we were kind of saying earlier about the narrative with stuff, that actually people respond a little better to things that they aren't told everything about on the promotional side of things?
I don't know, because I don't know if people even read that. You know, if you've got like big promo and stuff going on, I'm not sure if people even really care. You know what I mean? I don't know. I feel like I should definitely. I mean, if I was doing a little bit more promotion for my label, I'm sure it would sell a little bit better and people would know. But I just can't be arsed.
Drink to that.
Yeah. Cheers. And it can become something like, you know, sometimes those kind of labels, someone picks up on them and then they get like really hyped because there isn't any information about them. But to be fair, that happens very, very rarely. Most labels like that just stay where they are, sell a few copies, but that's basically it. But I don't know. I mean, I just, yeah, as I said, I'm not very good at it, and I love putting people's music out when I think it's really good. I enjoy it. I get a lot of, actually I once said in an interview when I just started my label, they were like, oh, what's the concept behind it? And I said, I don't really have a concept, but I kind of like want to put like psychedelic music and techno music out and stuff, and because no one really does that. That's wrong. I don't do it because no one really does it, and I don't really do it anyway because I don't get any psychedelic rock promos sent to me at all. So I had like a couple of bands in mind, but then they don't really want to even put anything out, and then I just get a lot of techno promos sent over. So it's just going to be a techno label, actually, to be fair. No, but it's like I said that and I say so many things, and it's like, oh, why did I say that? I didn't even really mean that. I was just trying to explain that I don't have a concept and that I might put a side record out, but I don't, you know, I'm not like, it doesn't have to be one type of music.
The stress of being a label owner.
Yeah, now I have to put a side record out because I said that I was gonna.
Got to do it.
Everybody's waiting for it now. Oh no, not another techno thing. I was waiting for the site. Where is it?
We're all waiting for the psych.
Yeah.
You got to do it.
Yo, bands out there, listen to this. I want your music.
We're about done.
Guess so.
Run out of stuff to talk about.
Don't think so, but
We could have gone on for ages, actually.
we could have gone on for ages, but I think it might have gotten even more boring.
Let's do one more. I think this is something we're both into. We were talking about this record before.
Yes, we are.
the Dirty Criminals International DJ Gigolo Records comp from, is it 2006?
Something like that.
2006. Could have picked anyone off here, really, couldn't we?
Really, yeah. I love that one, and they've got another Dirty Criminals compilation type thing. Both are just amazing.
That's it. We're done.
We're done. Ciao.
Ciao.
Have a good day.
Another level, another level, another level.
Our thanks to Illum and Helena Hauff for that. And now we turn our attention to some of the new releases coming out on the Ninja Tune family of labels. Starting with Letherette and a track called Rich and Dan, which is from their forthcoming LP. Rich and Dan by Letherette, coming out on Ninja Tune. Up next, it's Coldcut and a track called Donald's Wig, which features Roses Gabor on vocals.
Keep your eyes free, fight, yeah.
That was Coldcut with Donald's Wig, coming out on Ahead of Our Time. Now we hear a new album track from Romare called Come Close to Me, which is coming out on Ninja Tune. Was Romare with Come Close to Me from his forthcoming LP. We now head over to the Technicolor label and music from J. Daniel called Knowledge of Selfie. Was J. Daniel and a track called Knowledge of Selfie coming out on Technicolor. And finally, it's Hieroglyphic Being with a new 12 coming out on Technicolor, and this track is called This Is for the Rave Bangers. Finally, it's label mate Hieroglyphic Being with a new 12, which features this track called This Isn't Your Typical 90s Era Techno stroke IDM. Hieroglyphic Being with a track from his new 12 coming out on Technicolor. That's the end of the Ninja Tune podcast. Many thanks for listening, and we'll be back with another edition soon.